So I'm looking at my face. I look tired. I am tired. I look tired and I am tired. Look, I've aged 10 years in the past week. I've been out collecting signatures to get my name on the ballot. I've been petitioning for signatures. It's the American way, going door to door, knocking on doors and asking people, not people in your own party, so Republicans specifically, if they will sign my petition to get my name on the ballot so I can run for mayor. I'm knocking on like 40 to 50 maybe more. I don't know, maybe less. Doors a day for the last week. It's been 20 degrees and blowing cold. Snowing sometimes. Sometimes I'm alone. Sometimes I'm with other people, because people have lives and jobs too, and they can't just drop everything and do it with me. So I went alone a bunch of times. Knocking on doors, getting my butt handed to me by some people. Republicans. It's weird. It's like we're on the same team. Like, you like the Yankees, I like the Yankees. Can you sign my petition saying I'm a Yankees fan? Now. People are like, no, they won't even answer the door. They're like, yeah, what do you want? Oh, I'm running for mayor as a Republican and not. Nah. That happens to me all the time. It's like, okay, freaking butt munch. Let's move along. So my mom went out with me. And she is so energized by the political process. Like, that's just one of those things that gets her going. And it was really cute to see. And so she had her wig on, and we went out a couple days ago. She went out with me on Thursday. She has her chemo on Fridays. So Wednesdays and Thursdays tend to be like a high day because the chemo, really knocks her out for the count. I was worried about her getting exhausted. I was worried about her being around other people. We kept our masks on. And she stayed back because I did the talking. But it was a precious time for me. And we laughed, we joked, we talked about politics and, these kind of things. And I was very struck with what a precious opportunity that was. She's always been faithful at my side. Obviously there were times when she hasn't shown up for me, and that actually did happen this week. She was supposed to show up and help me, and she didn't. Whatever, it happens. But when she is there, she's all in. I'll say that. So it was Wednesday we went out, because Thursday was when she didn't show up. She got busy and forgot to come help me, so I went alone. But she still cooked me dinner. And then she cooked us dinner last night too. But, she just has this way. So we were at these people's house, and she kept getting drawn into conversations, and people would be like, we love Trump, and the election was stolen. And I was like, oh God, here we go. My mother would be like, I know 75 million Americans can't be wrong. And that's fine, whatever. But this is not the time or place. I just want to get my signature and move on. The time for meeting constituents, that wasn't the day. This is the day for gathering signatures. And yeah, a little 2 or 3 minute, but some people want to bring you in. They want to give you tea. I'm drinking some tea in some stranger's house if they can bury me in their basement. Oh, thank you. So anyway, so we go to this people's house. Guy's not home, but his friend answers the door, a roommate. And he's Jewish, and he's got a yarmulke and a big beard. So, yeah, I had to pause it because my husband came up and very lovingly brought me breakfast just now, which I don't really want any breakfast, but he brought it up because he's very loving that way. He made it fresh. It's an apple strudel of some kind. And then he scampered away because I was making one of my talk to myself videos. Anyway, he's a very lovely person all around, and I don't deserve him, and I don't know what he did to deserve me. Probably smacked a baby. Anyway, so I saw this guy, very Jewish looking, very big traditional beard, yarmulke, whatever, right? So I asked for the guy. He says, oh, he's not home. he says, oh, I'm a Democrat, so I can't sign your petition. And I was like, hey, no problem. So we start chatting. He's like, you're running as a Republican. He said, I'm a Democrat, but I'm really conservative. He said, I'm so excited. He said, I don't like the mayor at all. And I said, look, I'm not going to win this election. I'm not, without the votes of Democrats. And I said, I really hope that you'll talk to your Democrat friends and really inspire people to vote for me, because it's literally the only way I'll win is with Democrats, because we're the Democrat stronghold in Albany is 10-1. So it was a really nice conversation. In fact, I'm probably going to circle back around to him later with a bunch of more flyers and be like, hey, talk to your Democrat friends down at the temple because I need you guys. So very nice conversation, very lovely, soft-spoken, gentle type of man. Very bright, sunny eyes, really nice, right? So he was really cool. So we turned to leave, and my mom was quiet the whole time. I said something like, oh, I'm here with my mom. My mom was quiet the whole time. So I turned to leave. And he's like, goodbye, good luck, have a great day. And I was like, goodbye. My mother goes, shalom. I was like, oh. His face was like, I didn't even look back. I was like, oh my God, run, right? So we get in the car and I said, Mom, don't say shalom to Jewish people, especially like Jews that you don't know, because we know a bunch of Jewish people. And I don't know what they think about it, but I was like, don't say shalom to Jewish people. It's rude. She's like, why can't I say shalom? He's Jewish, obviously. I was like, you don't know that man. You don't know him. Obviously, he looks Jewish, and he speaks Hebrew, and he uses the word shalom. I said, would you walk up to anybody and act like you know them and you know their culture? And so she was trying to relate to them, and I totally get that. But I was like, no, you stop. You stop with that stuff. I said, you don't know him. I said, it sounds condescending. Maybe to your Jewish friends, it's fine. But you don't know this Jewish man. You don't know all the Jews. You can't just walk up and say shalom. And she was like, oh. I was like, it's insensitive. You don't know if they talk like that. You don't know if that's insulting. Like some white Karen shows up and I'm like, I am also relevant. Shalom. Right. So we get in the car and she's like, oh my gosh, people are so sensitive. So then we travel down a little ways. We show up to this house plastered in shamrocks, huge Irish flag, leprechauns everywhere, green glitter. The Irish, it's like all like the place looks like a bowl of Lucky Charms, right? And so a box of Lucky Charms. So we show up and I could just see her, right? So she's staring at the flag. She looks at the huge Irish green everything wreath, says a bunch of stuff in Gaelic, and she's just taking it all in. I knew what she was thinking, right? So she's like, and we're Irish. And so she's like, of Irish descent, actually. We're not actually Irish, and that does matter. So she's looking at the flags and she's like, can I say something here? I was like, what are you going to say, Mom? Keep your hands off me, Lucky Charms. I was like, don't. She's like, no, I'll say something like, may the road rise to meet you. And I was like, don't you dare. She was like, obviously Irish. And I was like, Mom, no. I said, for all you know, that Irish flag, they're going to burn it later and do incantations over it to curse the nation of Ireland. You don't know these people. Stop trying to act like you're their friend. There's one thing to be, neutral, pleasant. It's another thing to act like you should walk in their house and take your shoes off. She was like, oh my God. So she said something like, guys like Irish stuff? I was like, please stop. Anyway, it was a very lovely time though. She wants to go out again. We got done. She was like, this was fun. And she started to wilt. Like, I could tell she was tired. She started to like physically wilt before my eyes. And she was like, at the end of the day, she kind of had that look of when I used to go try on dresses at the store for the senior banquet. She was just like, so I said, you look tired. We're going to go home. And she's like, I'm not tired. I'm excited. I'm energized. So we went home. So I went out alone yesterday. It was so windy and cold. Anyway, whatever. Right. So I'm walking up and down all these streets. The cold and the wind, just being out and walking, after a while, it's very draining. And Albany can be hilly in some places. And so anyway, I was just tired. So I'm on my last street. I'm at the last few houses on this one street, Fairlawn. And I look at who I have to go see. Susan, I couldn't pronounce her last name. It was like something French. Susan and Stephen. So I try to memorize it on the Board of Elections ballot so I can go up and go, hi, I'm looking for Susan. And so anyway, so this woman answers the door. Little tiny white dog pokes his head out like, I was like, oh, here we go. So I encounter all types, right? So she opens the door. She's got this like really severe school teacher look with these glasses and this dark, severe, straight hair, like to here. She's like really plasticky. She's like, hello. I said, hi, I'm looking for Susan. She's like, I'm Susan. Right? So some people are suspicious when you answer the door. Welcome to New York, right? So I'm like, I said, hi, Susan. I said, my name is Alicia Purdy. I'm running for mayor in the city of Albany as a Republican. Because if I don't say that, they will slam the door in my face. Because everybody here's a Democrat. All the politicians are Democrats. So I was like, as a Republican, right? Before she can slam the door in my face. And she's like, so I have a piece of paper that I'm handing out. So I hand her this piece of paper with my picture on it and stuff and like some of the issues I'm talking about. She's like, I know who you are. And I won't be signing your paper. Right? And I'm like, have we met? I said, we're both Republicans. I said, I'm just collecting signatures to get my name on the ballot. It's not anything. But I have had people be like, my signature still means something. Here's what it means. It means you agree that I can at least try to run. That's all it means. And people are like, my name won't be soiled. Like, all right, you're an idiot. Moving along. Well, obviously I don't say that, but believe me, I'm holding it all inside. A smile on my face. So I said, would you mind telling me why I'd be interested in listening if there's something we could talk about? And she's like, yeah, I have 2 words for you. And then she looks at me like, and I was like, oh. So I kept my sunny face and I said, well, a vote for me is not a vote against. I said, a vote for me is a vote for the city of Albany, where you have said, as well as the rest of us, that you would like real change. I said, I know you're unhappy with the current mayor, and I'm the only Republican running, and I have all the endorsements. I said, so there's no other choice but me or the current mayor. She goes, well, then I just won't vote. I said, well, that's a shame. I said, I'm sorry to hear that you wouldn't vote if you really do want the change, because I need all the votes I can get so that Albany can do differently, and that will benefit you. So I said, why don't you take this paper? I said, just read it over, see what you think. Okay. She's like, I don't know. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm friends with. And I said, I understand that. And inside, like I could have punched her stupid pointy face right to the back of her head. I was like, I know. And I said, again, you're voting for the city of Albany that you love, not for me specifically. Like, I'll think about it, I guess. That's the best I'm going to give you. But there's no way I'm signing my name to your paper. She goes, yes, I'm a Republican, but I don't support you. Right? And I'm like, have a lovely day, Susan. Right? So inside, I'm not mad inside. I feel like I'm disheartened and I'm wounded, actually. I don't even know this woman, Susan. I've never met her in my entire life. Although it did come back to me later. I was like, I think I've heard mention her name in the past. But anyway, I realized who she was. Even though I've never met her and she's never met me. So in that moment, I felt I felt wounded. And, the Lord had told me that mercy was going to be what drowns my enemies. And I had to work really hard to remember that because, I was texting my mother about Anne when Anne died. I was like, I'm sorry about Anne. I was like, shut up, fat, stupid cow with rat teeth. I was like, shut up. Stop texting my mother. I had to come over there and punch you. You know how I feel about punching people. It's always in my head. I wouldn't actually do it unless I had to and could legally wrangle my way out of it. But anyway, I felt like, how dare you? How dare you? Right? So whatever. So she's going around bad mouthing me. I don't care. But what bothered me was like, she's crossing into personal territory. She's bad mouthing me, which again is fine, but now it's going to like affect people not wanting to vote for me. Or she's texting my mother, whom she has done even much greater harm to my mother than she ever did to me. And so my heart like ached in that moment. Like I just felt like this moment. I've had so many people slam the door in my face. I've been called names. I've had people say nasty things to me. I've had people talk to me like I'm a piece of trash. Oh, just last week alone, collecting these signatures from my own political party. Okay. And none of that bothered me to the level that this did because it was personal. So like it took the wind out of my sails. I just don't know how, like emotionally speaking, it took the wind out of my sails. So I stepped back with a happy smile on my face, like, okay, have a nice day, Susan. And I had one more house to go, and it was the house right next door. And there was this huge truck sitting in the driveway the whole time, idling. And I was like dreading walking up to this truck because I was like, I just wanted to walk up to the door. I didn't want to, like, now this dude's watching me in his truck. And I had seen him across the street when I was in my van. I was like, when is this guy gonna, I saw him pull in and I was like, shoot. Like, I don't want to walk up to people in their cars. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're on the phone, and so I just want to go to the door. I was like, now it's awkward. And I was going to actually skip his house because I just didn't want to approach the truck. And so I turned around. I hadn't even turned around. I was like stepping back, and Susan slammed the door. And I heard, Alicia Purdy? So I turned around. I said, put that smile on your face, sunny girl. So I was like, yes? Want to hand my butt to me? So anyway, I just said, yes, I'm Alicia. And he like leaned across the car and he's like, I've been waiting for you. He's like, I am so excited. He's like, can I sign your petition? I'm a Republican. And I knew he was the next house on my list. So I was like, yeah. I said, I'll be right there. So I crossed around and went over to the driver's side. And he's like, boy, I'm so excited to see you. He's like, I've been watching you walk up and down the street. And he said, I thought to myself, I bet that's Alicia Purdy. And I'm going to sign that petition. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. And he had all this military gear on. He was Army. And I said, and I want to thank you for your service. I said, you're a real hero. I said, you're the hero, not me. And he's like, yeah, I'm Army, National Guard. I was like, oh, hometown hero. And he's like, yeah. He's been in a couple, about 20 years. And so his name was Scott. So I said, well, I am very proud. I said, my brother served in the military as well. And I said, I am very happy to meet you, Scott. And he's like, he kept doing that. Man, I'm excited. He goes, wow, we've been waiting for somebody to step up in this town. And he's like, oh, I fully support you. And I saw you on the news. He's like, this is a great day. He goes, I am so proud to sign my name on your petition. He's like, you want a bottle of water? I was like, no, thank you. I'm good. I said, you're my last house and I'm heading home. So he signs it and he's like, yeah. He's like, good job. You keep going. Right. And so I was like, thank you. He's like, yeah. So I said, oh, have a good day. So I walk away and get in my car. And whatever, he goes in his house, I drive away. So I drive around the corner and I just burst into tears because I needed to let some steam off because of Susan. Like the energy she was putting out toward me, it was like, I can't explain it. I could like feel loathing and spite and like she was despising me. She doesn't even know me, but I could feel the hatred of projecting over. I could feel it. I could literally feel it in my heart. I could feel it coming from her, like heat rays. And it really just took me down. It was demonic. It was obviously demonic. And demonic, and her family is demonic, and they're held in chains by the enemy. And that kind of stuff transfers around. Look at whatever, right? So I'm like, so I could feel it. It was not just this woman, Susan, who's obviously a ninny. She's a numbskull who just believes whatever someone else tells her, which is the power of a cult mindset. But anyway, so I got in the car and I cried. I like pulled around the corner and just started to cry. And immediately, I saw like God opened up my eyes. So I started to cry from just like self-pity. I was hurt and I had been holding a lot in all day, a lot of stress. So it just kind of came out. I've cried every day this week because of all this. It's a lot of stress to do this for me. And immediately I saw this guy, Scott's face. And his happiness to see me and his joy and his encouragement. And he was like, yeah, keep going, girl. And it felt like the goodness of God. It felt like a ministering angel to me. That the enemy attacked me and it hurt. It did. It hurt. But God was there, and he was watching over me, and he had a plan in place, and he had somebody ready to bear me up. And I was just overwhelmed with the goodness of God to cover me, to be ready. I just saw it, and I was like, wow, what a good God. A bad devil and a good God. God was right there. And yeah, I had to have that experience. But God was right there. The Lord was there to minister to me through this wonderful man, this soldier. He was so over the top enthusiastic. It was almost comical. As hateful and cartoonish as Susan was, this guy was the total. I mean, he was literally the antithesis to this woman. He was the antidote to her poison for my heart. And so I just wept because God is good. And he took care of me, and I saw it. We don't often get to see, or maybe we don't recognize the goodness of God. But it was so obvious I couldn't ignore it, and I was just so grateful. It was cool. Very cool. And so I refused to let myself be mad at stupid, gross Susan. She was so awful looking. She just looked hateful. She looked like an old witch. So, hate does that to people. And I was so ministered to. I felt like there's this verse in Psalm 118:13, and it says, "You pushed me down, and I was falling, but the Lord helped me." And that's how I felt. I felt like you pushed me down, Satan, and I was falling for just like a second. I was blown back, but the Lord helped me. And I was just so overwhelmed, and I was empowered by that. And then I got home later. I was telling the girls that story, and I said, even when I'm talked meanly to, I said, I keep a pleasant smile on my face. I don't attack back. I said, because I'm a Christian. And I said, there's a time and a place to stand and defend yourself. There is a time and place to push back and say, you will not talk to me this way, and I am worth more than your nasty words, and I don't deserve them, and I don't accept them, and you're going to stop. Conversation's over. I said, there are those times. I said, but you have to understand time and place. I said, I'm at this woman's house. I'm not going to show up to her house and get into an argument. I'm on her turf, essentially. I came to her. I said, I'm out campaigning for mayor, and people are watching, and the word will spread. I said, and she will not have a bad word to say about me that has any basis in the truth, because I was classy, and I was calm, and I was pleasant the entire time. So I was saying that to the girls. I said, but it hurt. I said, it hurt a little bit to be, knocked down. Then I told them about the soldier, this Scott Leslie. And so Adelaide got off of her chair, and she came over, and she just hugged me. She goes, I just want to hug you. She said, that way you can be strong again. That's not her way. Emmeline's the huggy one. And so I was really so ministered to, and she just held me, and she's like, there's my love. That's going to make you stronger. And I just said, you know what? You're right. I said, the people who love me, that's all I need. I said, my children, my husband, my mom and dad. I said, if my family loves me, then I am strong. And so I'll just keep going. But it was hard. So after all of that, I came home last night, and my mom, on her day of chemo, which was yesterday, cooked me and my husband and family. My mom and dad cooked us a meal. That's how they're trying to support us, is by like taking the girls, which I need, because I won't always need it, but this like 2 weeks to get these signatures in is a lot of work. It's day and night. As soon as I go in the morning, as soon as the girls get back from school, I send them somewhere, I go back out. It's hours and hours, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day of doing this. And I could walk away with 9 signatures. And I have a deadline. They have to be turned in by a certain time, or I don't get on the ballot at all. And so my mom was really sick yesterday, and she was laying down, and she didn't have her hair on. She was wearing like a cancer cap, essentially. I noticed her eyebrows look thinner, her eyelashes. Like, I thought something was weird about her eyes. I thought, I know she was sick also. When you're nauseated, you don't look like yourself, but she didn't look right. And I was just like, what's going on with her? And I realized, I think she's losing her eyebrows and her eyelashes. She looked like paler, even though she had makeup on. She was icy. Her hands were icy, ice cold. She was shivering. They had the heat turned up to like 90 in the little apartment that we were in. And she was She looked exhausted and she looked weak. And like I said, she just had that chemo. I know she was nauseated. She told me she was nauseated and she kept laying down. And I started to think, God, let me win. Please let me win. If for no other reason than my mom can see it and be proud, because like holding political office in the American way and politics is a big deal for her. And all of a sudden I just wanted to win for my mom. I wanted to stand up there and be able to like thank her and like acknowledge her publicly, and I wanted to see the look of pride and joy on her face, not because I need her to be proud of me, but because I wanted to gift her the opportunity to see something that she thinks is just the tops, the biggest thing you can do and be, and that she was part of it, you know, that kind of thing is just a big deal to her. And all of a sudden, I just thought, Lord, I need to win. I need to win for my mom. And it's a lot of pressure, but I need to win so my mom can see me win. And I thought, what if she's not here to see it? What if she takes a turn for the worse and she dies? And I achieved this, and she's not part of it. And all I ever got was that one day when we were out collecting signatures and laughing and talking. I want to save all these precious time. She was so proud to sign my petition. They moved their address up here so they could sign it, and she was so proud. And I don't need her to be proud of me. I know that she already is. It wasn't that. She was proud as like an American, exercising her rights. And I want to gift that to her. All of a sudden, I just want to win so she can have the win, not even for myself. I think I'm just tired. But I have to keep going. I will not let myself stop. I will not. If for no other reason than my mom. And I hope she doesn't get sicker along the way. It's ever present in my mind. I want her to be part of it. There's nothing I can give to my mom, really. But I feel like I can give her this. Using everything in my power, bringing her alongside, including her. I got so mad the other day when she didn't show up to help me petition, like she said she would, and I waited for her. I just had those flashbacks of these moments where she just didn't show up for stuff. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to bring it up to her. She has cancer. I'm not going to make her turn on herself even more. So I didn't say anything. And I was gracious when she was like, I'm sorry, I lost track of the time, and I'm racing up there. I was like, Mom, do not even race up here. I got it covered, no big deal. Like, I just totally played it off, because those days are over where I confront her about the petty stuff. Yeah, maybe I just move on with my life, and I have to go on without her, and I'll have to deal with that. But anyway, my mom has cancer, but Jesus has the answer.